talk about a very disturbing situation in Bimbilla in the northern region. Well, if you recall, there have been conflicts, a conflict that's been raging for some time now. As a result, there's been a curfew that's still in force. That's from 4 to 10 a.m. yesterday. Women in Bimbilla demonstrated and presented a petition saying that they are the most affected in times of such conflict. They've been presenting their petition to stakeholders, other power brokers in Bimbilla, as well as to the presidency through the DCE in the area. Let's get on the line now and speak to Hashmin Mohammed. Hashmin.
Hello, Gifty.
Tell us what happened yesterday.
Well, yesterday, a group of women numbering in hundreds, they marched through the principal streets of the Bimbilla township, and they finally converged at the district assembly hall complex and presented a petition. And then used in the petition were that they are saying that they are living in fear because in all the violence given that took place in the Bimbilla chieftaincy divide, they have been the target of their children. They don't know who is the next woman to be killed if any violence break out in that particular area. If you recall, this year alone, more than 10 women and children have been killed in a series of violence that took place in that particular area. And in all these instances, they are saying that justice is yet to be served to those women and children who have been killed. They are saying that they don't have, as women, they don't have any interest in the Bimbilla chieftaincy divide, so they don't know why, as men, whenever they are fighting, as to who has the right to become the next chief for Bimbilla, they are being targeted. They are saying that in areas where there are conflicts, they always hear that men are being killed, but they don't know in the case of Bimbilla why women are being targeted. So they are calling on government to institute a team to investigate the targeted killing in the area, because they are living in fear and they don't know who will be the next woman or the next child to be killed.
Right. Did they get any responses from the DCE, for example?
Well, the district chief executive, Abdallah Yakubu, who is also the chairman of the district security council, received their petition. He promised them that he will be forwarding it to the regional minister for onward submission to the president so that their grievances can be looked at.
Very well. Hashmin, if you can give us a very quick background to this whole, conflict.
Well, there have been two factions in the Bimbilla chieftaincy divide. The Nafana family, you recall, he was a chief in that particular area in the Nanumba North district. He died. His people said they want to bury him in Bimbilla township. But another rival faction, that is Na and Dane Jasana family, said once he didn't die as the chief of Bimbilla, he cannot be buried. His body was preserved for more than 10 years, and finally the Northern Regional Security Council decided to give permission for the Nafana family to bury him in Bimbilla at his private residence. And that has always been the contention between the two families. This issue has traveled from the High Court to the Regional House of Chiefs, and then the Supreme Court is currently looking at the incident at the moment. And all these incidents, a lot of properties, a lot of lives, and have been lost in this conflict. Just this morning, I just went through, and then I realized that this year alone, about 20 people have lost their lives in the conflict. And then in these 20, about 11 or more people are women and children. Just last week, there was a violence took place there, and then another woman was murdered. And all these issues put together have made the women to call for security in that particular part of northern region.
Hashmin, thank you very much for that update. I beg your pardon. Hasmin Mohammed is our Northern Regional Correspondent, bringing us up to speed. So, having known that background, I have in the studio with me at the moment Tahiru Osman Kika is a spokesperson to the Bimbilla regions, Nyalimboligna, Yakubu and Dani. I got that right, didn't I?
That's right.
Okay, Mr. Yakubu, you're welcome. Tahiru, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank
now,
you
you've
very
heard
much.
all of the list of destruction that has happened in Bimbilla. You are coming from the Bimbilla Region's Palace. Now, I need to understand this a bit further. What is causing you two, I mean, the two factions involved in this, to kill each other, really?
Thank you very much. In fact, this issue of Bimbilla, there has since been series of contentions each time the skin becomes vacant.
Okay.
But then, each time it happens so, the decision as to choosing the right candidate to ascend to the throne has always been left to the determination of the kingmakers.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this time, we actually have hijacked the issue from the kingmakers.
Who has hijacked the issue from the kingmakers?
I am saying we.
We.
Nanumbers.
Okay.
Nanumbers, stakeholders, interest parties have hijacked the issue from the kingmakers.
And why is that?
There is always a line of ascension to the throne. And this line has been explicit from time immemorial. That unless, of course, you are a son or a great or a direct grandson, you do not ascend to Bimbilla throne. And that has been the case. Unfortunately, I think we have come to a time that some people think we should do amendment of who qualifies to ascend to the throne. But those personalities have actually not chosen the right path, in my view. Because I believe we could have still left it where it used to be, get things normalized, then we go onto the table and then consider and look at the pros and cons of the decision that we're going to take. So yes, ideally, the situation has become so horrible because we have decided to interfere into the affairs of kingmakers. And that is why the whole place is so volatile this time around.
The region that you're representing, for example, you're one of the factions in this matter, so you're not immune of blame. You're part of the problem.
Well, you see, when there is a conflict in a society, I think nobody is right. Everybody has some amount of blame to be taken. But one way or the other, if I look at the whole thing, tactically, yes, we think that we have been in control of our people. Not even when kingmakers decided on Bimbilla chieftaincy in 2004, we did not, want to embark on any step that will destabilize the peace of the area.
So what has changed? Because at the moment, you're under curfew.
Yes.
At the moment, your children and your wives, your girlfriends, your mothers, your sisters are being killed. The town has come to a standstill, wouldn't you say?
I will only say that we should be careful of this culture of impunity in the area. Government, security agencies, and all other stakeholders will have to stand on their feet to make sure.
Are they not standing on their feet?
No, I don't believe that.
To make sure that what happens?
To make sure that perpetrators of crime are drastically dealt with to serve as a deterrent.
Do you have any evidence to the effect that perpetrators of crimes are not being dealt with?
The woman was not shot by mistake. She was shot by somebody who targeted her.
Do you know who?
I will not be able to tell. But what I'm saying is that if there's a suspect, the suspect should be arraigned before court, the suspect should be tried, and accordingly discharged or punished severely. This is not the first time. In 2014, 19th of June, the overlord of Bimbilla, Na Andani Dasana, was murdered. Suspects were arrested. Up till now, unless of course if you can tell me whether those suspects were tried in any other court of competent jurisdiction, there was nothing like trial. It means that the security agencies did not do a good job there. Those same suspects could have been involved in these same recent incidents. Then in 2015, you recall there was a murder of 9 women and 1 child. Now, the background of that particular incident was that the regent Nyalam Bolguna gave a notice to do some enskinment in Bimbilla.
And that, according to reports, we know that the government asked you to hold on.
Government did not ask us to hold on, no. In fact, I don't want to speak factionally today.
Okay, you shouldn't.
But I am saying that government did not ask us to hold on. And I say this clearly.
So you went ahead, you did what you wanted to do, and people died.
We gave a notice to security that we were going to do the enskinment. The security came to tell us that finally that they would wish that we do it within the early hours of the day between 12 o'clock and 1, and not after 3 as usual. In fact, we complied. We did exactly that. The security were at the palace, police were there, military were there, the BNI and other officers were there. We ended the program ended at the palace successfully. All the chiefs who were in skin left the place on their way to their communities, then the whole thing started. At that time, they got home only to realize that the women were killed.
What do you expect to happen for all of this killing and violence to end in Bimbilla?
Yeah, if government can come out, support the Chief Justice to fast track the process.
So that would mean government interfering in the judicial process.
What is happening? A case has been pending before the Supreme Court for close to 3 years now. Because it's over 2 years now. The National House of Chiefs came out with its verdict, I think that was in 2015. Yes, 2014. And since then, the case has been appealed at the Supreme Court. And so, our other counterparts have it that the fact that the case is pending before the Supreme Court comes with an automatic stay of execution, and therefore we do not have the right to practice as a traditional council, though the regional House of Chiefs had ruled in our favor. The legitimacy of the chief or the regent was challenged at the High Court. The verdict came in our favor, and yet still they thought that the appeal at the Supreme Court had an injunction on the previous verdicts, which we contested that it is not true. If indeed there is an injunction, then the Supreme Court will definitely have to serve the palace and said, look, your case is currently pending at the Supreme Court, and therefore you do not have the right as the traditional head to function as such. But we have not received any service to that effect.
How long will people continue to die in Bimbilla until you both factions make up your mind to just stop this, put an end to this?
Yeah, we think that as soon as possible. Now.
So why don't you just come to an agreement, come to an understanding and stop the killing?
It has to do with government and, for that matter, politicians leaving the chieftaincy issue to the people of Nanu.
Okay. Which politicians are interfering?
I am using the word politicians.
Which politicians are interfering?
I have not specifically pointed to a particular party, but I'm saying politicians.
But that's very vague. We need to understand.
The people of Napana have the notion that we got the backing from the ex-World government, NDC, though a lot of them were sympathizers of NDC. And this has been the speculation. Now,
and it's not true?
I am using the word not true.
Okay.
And when I say it's not true, I'm saying this because NDC could not have facilitated any verdict in our favor. And so now, our people want to conclude that the people of Nakwana seems to be having some kind of favor from the current government. And this is seeming so. You see? Yes, as you can see, because the people of some, in fact,
so you're making it sound as though it's just an issue of perceptions, yet people are dying. That's the difficult part.
Something?
That's the very hard part for me to understand.
You see, the court has ruled a case. National House of Chiefs has the status of a high court.
You said that already.
And I'm saying that what we need to do now is for us to respect the rule of law and for government to ensure that directives of Ghana government, especially security agencies, are not flouted by any. If we do, we should be taking on. If any other person does, the person should be taken on.
Okay, let's wrap up this conversation. I'm asking you to tell the women in Bimbilla, perhaps they're watching, that respond to their petition. They've sent a petition to all the stakeholders, including yourself. They're asking for protection. They don't know when the next woman is going to be killed, slaughtered.
Yesterday, His Royal Highness, the Regent of Bimbilla, in response to their petition, made a comment. He said, "You do not kill to succeed in what you want." Definitely it wouldn't happen. We want to assure women in Nanu, and for that matter Ghana, that the faction of the Regent of Bimbilla, Nyelembolguna, is committed not to take the life of a single soul, not even a male, let alone woman. And I'm saying this emphatically from the words of the palace, that we are committed. We have been able to tune the mind of our people to desist from bloodshed. Okay. And so shall we expect our brothers from the other side to also bring their people to order.
Okay. All right. We'll leave this conversation here. I think that hopefully we'll have to reach out to as well to the other faction, so we can hear what they also have to say. Because if you both commit to stop killing each other, then there will be peace, and perhaps the curfew you're enduring now will be no more.
The solution has to do much with the court coming out with a verdict. Supreme Court should be able to come out swiftly. Okay. See, enough of that. Bimbilla, this person must be the chief, this person mustn't be. And the second thing is that we will also have to commit ourselves to accepting the verdict of the court.
Will you accept the verdict?
I will.
Talking about the regent, the Bimbilla regent.
Entirely, we will.
You will accept.
The regent will accept. I will accept.
Either ways. Whether it's in favor of your expectations or not, you will accept. Very well.
We have to. And I think that finally, before you see, Peace Council at a point has been so pivotal in the mediation process. In fact, if you have the opportunity to interact with the other side, sometimes I begin to understand why the resistance is becoming so high. Though the killing is very criminal, it's unacceptable, but sometimes their resistance is a result of some certain feelings that they have.
Okay, we need to wrap up this conversation, so if you give me a very final word, and I'll be grateful.
My final words is that enough of the killing, not only the women. It is so embarrassing for us to identify ourselves now as Nanumbers in the society because of the disgrace, the criminal act, and the lawlessness in Nanu. And I think that my very good friends and brothers from the other side, at a point, will also have to come together to reason with us that we are fighting to ascend to the skin to rule people. So there's absolutely no need
to kill the same people that you want to govern. All right.
And that is what I would say.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right.
Tahiru Osman Kika is spokesperson to the Bimbilla regions, Nyelimbolegina Yakubu and Dani. And we're talking about the Bimbilla conflict and what they're asking at the moment. They're asking that the Supreme Court fast track the case so that there will be a determination of who ought to be chief of that particular place.